Yes. These two pieces are the ones that I chose as inspiration for this particular poetic expression. I saw them as female and male. I saw them as having a conversation. The ciphering of conversation, the art of communication, valuable understanding. Why can't we just remove the space between us and become what the stars meant for us to be? Why can't we just ignore the world for one night and become close? I want to assure you of my interest. I want to be comfortable with you. Relax into a deep conversation. I'm yours. Smearing black lipstick between gold, he stays on my mind like my next verses and my stanzas. He is in my head. He is the what we search for. Our conversations, they stay on replay. There's love found in the creativity that makes me dizzy. There's this conversation. And I want to request it again. Love wins when we remove what weighs us down. There's a wagon of doubt that seems to be hitched in that motivation, and we must detach it, remove it, clip it quickly, and get back to what is. Your beautiful presence was requested in my dreams some years ago. Face unseen, but aura was clear. Spirit so familiar. A king that had gone through hurt and found safety in the solitude, that conversation. I was learning that love will always prevail. I was gaining knowledge of myself and what makes happy. A new appreciation for the gifts that are in my DNA and new ways to use them, the understanding, the super in the natural, that conversation between me and art, me and poetry, nurturing from seeking knowledge, so I began to heal. How can I give him my art, the pieces left by an old name? How can I find the pieces again? Jagged are the edges that frame me, and I needed to know him. The poetic lover, the music lover, the philosopher, not knowing that he would be the him, H-E-M, to hold me content, and the hymn, the H-Y-M-N, that I'd recite daily, realizing that he was to be my forever hymn. And in these cases, these pieces, while they sound like maybe I'm talking about a lover, I'm actually talking about my love with art, my love of poetry, my love of words. That's the conversation that I heard between these two. And now there's a third conversation that I encourage you to ear whistle and listen to, and that is the messengers.
Keep your secrets from me, boy. Run it. Keep a little lie. Could it be any harder? No. Run it. Can't keep yourself satisfied. Run it. Could you be any colder? When you're running. Taking another side when you're running.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Show me the way you're moving. Show me the way you're moving. Show me the way you're moving. Won't you show me the way you're moving? Boy, we are going fast. Boy, we are going fast.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you, guys. Could you hear that conversation that they were having? Yeah. That piece was part of the JUBA Festival, JUBA Day with Black Arts and Ideas Festival, inspired and a part of that piece. And I was a part of that show, and when I saw it, I emotionally was affected. And it caught me because I heard that conversation so loudly. I may have heard it between me and past loves, but I also heard it between me and my art, fighting with my art, frustrated with it at times, wanting to break up with poetry, wanting to break up with words, only to go back, only to fall myself back in. And that's where I felt like that was a deep moment, and I knew that I wanted to do something with them. But when this particular exhibit was opened and I came and saw those pieces, I heard a similar conversation between those two pieces that seemed to mimic, in a way, your dance. And so that's why the connection was there. This is a part of Vision and Verse where you, the audience, get to ask the questions, and we just have a dialogue of what you heard, what you felt, in this case, what you hear and saw. What does that look like to you in conversation? And then also, it's also for you to figure out how art talks to you in general, not just these pieces, but how does art talk to you in general? Some popcorn words. What are some thoughts that you had between the two pieces, the poetry and the dance? How did you see that they connected? Yes, ma'am.
Was this entitled? Was it the title?
I don't, yours.
This piece was originally Time to Define. DTR in a relationship, defining the relationship, whatever relationship that is.
And my piece didn't have a title. No, it didn't.
There's a connection you see between the two.
Yeah.
couple, male, female,
Yes.
pull.
Push, a lot of push and pull. Yeah. 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 Yes.
I think, and what you're saying, male, female, I'm thinking yin yang. I'm thinking that what struck me in both of them was the relationships of ourselves. First and foremost, that push and pull within ourselves as a yin and a yang
Ooh,
and the
yeah.
pieces of who we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also feel like the relationship that we have with ourselves translates to the outside relationships that we have with other people. And so I got a lot of like your internal, like that was kind of a message to your art. And then it was nice to see that translate to the external. I think sometimes when we're feeling really complicated inside, those outside relationships feel the same.
They do. They do. Any questions you have for us?
Where do you all dance? I want to see more.
We are currently members of the nonprofit organization called the Power Project.
Oh, yeah. I recognize you. Great.
Yes.
Have you seen this piece before you choreographed the dance, or you choreographed the dance first and then you felt a connection?
The dance came first, and it was the conversation that I heard between them dancing that made it stick in my head. And I think I might even messaged Adara the same night after I left JUBA. I think I messaged her at a horrible hour and was like, oh my God, this has got to be a Hunter. I don't know how. And then we knew this was coming, but I wasn't sure. I knew that Vision and Verse that we would do, something would be done based off of this exhibit, but what, the how, the who, I wasn't sure. And then when I walked in and saw those two pieces, I was like, oh, there it is. It's saying the same thing. And in this weird kind of way, I felt like those two pieces, what's on it is like this transcribing. I know that it doesn't look like anything, like words, but to me, it felt like they raised up and I saw a conversation and then I began to hear it. And then the words kind of fell in this weird, some of it was conversations I had with myself, some of it was conversations I had as I was fighting creativity. Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on the piece?
For me, when I first saw it, it kind of gave me this like hieroglyphic roadmap of like the internal struggles within like anybody. And so just being an artist, it's always like you overthink, you overanalyze, and you're like, oh, it's too much, it's not enough. And so I think just in like human life, it's always like we're too much, not enough. And like I just love like the composition and like the art and how it kind of like was like, okay, if you go this and you do this, you're gonna hit a roadblock here. You gotta pivot or like I don't know, transition to like a new phase of life, and that's kind of the story of the piece in a way. It's like we're transitioning through a conversation where we're kind of like answering our own questions and not really answering anything, but also like trying to be this unit all together.
For me, when I first saw the piece, and Erika was saying this is the piece that she wanted, when I saw it, they looked very different to me. She mentioned female and male. And within everything we do, our conversations, how we are with each other, we're very different. And so it just resonated to me that, and anytime I have a conversation with Damien or he has a conversation with me, they don't ever match. And so it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like what struck me, especially with the previous story of what those paintings are, is they all, pieces on the screen, have done a great job of taking things that you might not notice or like are not important, like the street or your relationship to your art or a relationship, like conversation, that makes them feel like important. Like I feel like when I saw those paintings, I was like, I don't know how they got these in here. Like these feel bigger than they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about the dance as well.
Yeah. When we created Vision and Verse those many moons ago, it was specifically for artists to be able to look at art in a different way and then interpret it through their artistic language. How do you see it as a dancer, a poet, and then musicians became and rappers became a part of that. And so it's always interesting. I can't say that I've been to one where I've not been at a Visionaverse, where I was not amazed at the new perspective that I get to see from someone else's eyes. It's always something amazing to be able to feel that, and then also be able to have my own creative thoughts and put it through my artistic language. Any other questions or comments?
One thing Carl said, and this conversation throughout time and space, and that the initiators, the first people to make this conversation, we don't know their names. They were having not the same struggles, but struggles of how do I still make my mark? How do I still be an artist when I'm maybe struggling to speak the language or to navigate these very same streets and to feed my family? And so all of these artists were going through all of this anonymously, not even ever expecting, and then they led to this multi-generational, multi-ethnic, multimedia response to these little marks that they made in the street.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I like the fact that he said it's hieroglyphic.
Yeah.
Because it does appear to be that way, but it's encapsulated. But their dance, they say they're very different, but look at how beautifully they complement and get the fluidity of the art. So that's like an interesting thing for me, that they would get that out of this piece of art and being different.
Right.
So
I think naturally we just, as two humans, we think differently, we go about situations differently, and even in the patterns that is in the painting, at some point those lines align. And so even at the very beginning of the piece, we were on two very different paths, but then we eventually met up. At some point, that's going to happen. I think that's what makes the conversation beautiful, that we keep it different. And great and sad and angry and happy and all those things in between. So,
What do you think the significance of the gold, the gilded part? I feel like that's important, not just in that piece, but I think it's important in this space, like the preciousness or the outlining. In this case, that was what I was alluding to when I said valuable conversation, valuable understanding, because we regard gold in this very rich, opulent way. So if my conversations are of gold, then they're of value. My understanding is of gold, then it's of value. My words are gold, so they must matter. Yes.
To your point, it seems like gold is the thread that runs through everything. And to me, we all have various types of art that we are drawn to and that we like. Some are huge like this, some are dance, some are singing, some are playing an instrument, some are writing, some are speaking, and there's so many ways to express yourself. And I'm always amazed when I see something like what you guys just did, which is connect something that's painted, visual, hung on a wall, to writing, to speaking, to dancing and moving, and how you can talk. It's not a direct translation, but you can see it, communicate between each of those different forms. It's always fun to see it.
Yeah.
I think what's cool is that with art, you can paint a picture without literally painting a picture. And I think that's the beautiful thing in being an artist, is that like I can create this visual image without even showing you anything. And I think that's kind of how we interpret dance, that we tell a story without telling you the story. You see it, you hear it, you feel it, but you really don't hear any words, unless the music has words, of course. But yeah.
it all, it turns into something very valuable and connected because it's reaching us with all our senses, right? And that's fun.
Yep. Yep.
And your value is never the same. That's always the same when you look at it. It never changes. But yours, your interpretation of that changes every single time. And that's what's really cool.
It's an amazing thing. Thank you guys for hanging with us and being a part of this. Thank you guys. Thank you.